Okay, welcome back everybody. This is part 2 of a series of a 3-video series about the methodology that we use in the day trading room. And let me break this down again. Remember, we trade the CME currency market, which is awesome because the spreads are so tight and the volatility is extremely volatile. And we also trade the S&P 500 futures and also the Dow futures, and then also I'll be bringing a forex room also with my institutional numbers. But the bottom line is this: let's go over we have 3 top setups, like I mentioned in video 1. We have 3 top setups that we look at. That's all you have to learn. Learn 3 top setups, and if you're trading 10 to 13 to 20 times a day, you're not a trader. You know, you might as well pack it up and move it on. If you're not trading a lot of volume, then obviously you're not trading the markets like you should. You should have 4 to 6 good trades a day. 4 to 6 good trades a day when things line up, and whether that being trading, you know, all 4 to 6 markets. But just this system is based upon 3 top setups. There's a certain symmetry to the market in these setups, and that's what I'll go over. You wait for that setup to come. It's very systematic. It's very easy. Let's take a look at my number 1 institutional setup short. Okay, let's go over the Papa chart real quick. When I'm in the day trading room every day from 9 to 11, I go over this because a lot of big moves happen from 9:30 to 11. In fact, if you can just trade from the 8:30 to 11 every day in the futures market, you're pretty much golden right there alone. There's hot times in the currency market, and that's one of them. After 11, 11:30, all the way to 5 o'clock when it closes, it gets real choppy, and that's even the S&P 500. So we like to get everything done in the morning, and if you're an early hour trader, or when the market opens back up at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you still have some shots there. But typically, a lot of our trades are said and done in the first 3 hours of 8:30 to 11, so the first 2 hours. So the bottom line is this. This yellow institutional number that gets updated at 6 p.m., I update my 3 top institutional levels. When that level gets violated, meaning by candle close, and this dashed line gets violated, and also my magenta line gets violated, when it closes below all 3, you're in the most vulnerable position in the market. There's no other vulnerable position to be in because there's no downside support off of my long-term charts. Okay, so when you come into Papa, you got to ask yourself on the long-term charts, you go from macro to micro, like I mentioned in video 1. When you first close a whole body candle, and I'm not talking about a straddle. A straddle is this. When you get a candle that straddles my institutional numbers, like right there, straddle, 3 in a row, bam, right there, a whole body closed below all 3, you know the market is in for some serious downside. You just closed below all 3 of my top numbers. My first yellow one, my solid, is the most important. My second's my dash. My third's my line in the sand. You close below all 3, you got yourself one heck of a move that's coming. Now, how do we enter? Remember, I told you we had 3 top setups in the trading room, correct? The 4th being the shark bite, our most advanced setup. But the first 3, that's all you got to learn. That's it. And trade it. When this setup comes on all these currencies, you trade it the exact same way every time. The symmetry of the market is going to be this. Here's what's going to happen before I get into this setup. Number 1, the tone of the market is going to be dictated by this Papa chart. It's going to tell you if we're going to be net buyers or net sellers. If you look where that arrow's at, that's a net seller, right? We broke down below all 3. So we're looking for a number 1 short institutional breakdown, number 1 trade, just like the PDF goes over. Number 2, after the market gets rolling down, what's going to happen? My number 2 trade, retest. The market will start falling. It'll retest at some point and hit our number again, and then we'll look for a number 2 trade. And number 3 trade will be a counter trend trade. After you get 50 ticks away from my magenta, we look for a counter trend trade, and that will be on what's called a brick wall long, which I'll go over, which we nailed Friday. Nailed a huge one Friday, 70 ticks, and over 110 ticks Wednesday. So, but let's go over this here. That's the symmetry of the market. And then after you get into the 3 counter long, you go back into a number 1 trade again, where you look at Papa and see if Papa is going to break down or break out for a trend change again. Okay? So we had a breakdown. Now this is on the Japanese yen. We had a breakdown, a whole candle close. Once it closes below, one candle below all three, I'm looking for a number one institutional breakdown. Since I give you 3 institutional numbers at 6 p.m. every night, if it breaks below those and retests those, you get short with my sell dot. That's all you do. Let's go to my execution chart. The pop is a setup, the 1 minute's the execution. Watch this at the same time. Watch this trade. All right, here's my 1 minute chart on my gathering place. Very important. This blue cross right here, this blue cross is my institutional numbers that I update at night at 6 p.m. I got 2 other crosses on this 1 minute chart that you'll come into. You'll know the numbers in advance way before they even happen. This is 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You knew that 14 hours before it even hit, that when it violated it, and you'll see it automatically update here that you're good to go. So when the Papa broke down, we're looking to short a number one trade, right? The number one trade is a close below my institutional blue right here. You let it get away, you let it retest, and after the retest, I always see this. I always see, almost every single time, a doji or a hammer. There's over 150 different candle formations out there. Let me tell you, I'm a great candlestick chartist. You only need to know 2, the doji and the hammer. It dojied, we look for the sell dot after the retest of the institutional number. There's our entry right there. Now, our stop loss is very simple. Once the market gets rolling down to the downside on our sell dot, we enter here with the sell dot, the magenta sell dot, blue being obviously a buy. If we get one whole candle close above this institutional number right here after we enter, we stop ourselves out of a small loss. If it starts going down, within 1, 2, 3 candles, if I get a green dot like this over here, within 3 candles, I stop myself out at a small profit because it's not going to roll down hard. It does not though, right? So we're good to go. We're short right here. It does not stop us out, does not close above our institutional number, does not give us a green candle within 3 bars, so we're good to go. What's our first target? My target, scaling target, I know the symmetry of the market, correct? So I know where it likes to turn, okay? So these dots, the cyan dots, if we're short, that's our first scale. And if we were long, our purple would be our scale for our long, right? But we're short. That's our first scale right here. Bam, that's our first scale. Our next scale is going to be out. We can put everything else break even right here in our trade and go to the next. Our whole big target is try to hit our next institutional number all the way down here. That's our target, right? Well, sometimes you'll see the market get choppy and not fall so hard like this. It'll chop back up, but that's okay. We still got everything break even from our original entry. So we will go for our next scale target, which will be cyan dots here. This is just a beautiful trade. It just tanked 70 ticks for us. So it just tanked 70 ticks and hit our next institutional target. Our first scale was beautiful because we had a break-even trade on 3/4 of our rest of our position. We had no risk on the trade and made 70 ticks. That's how I teach you to make money in this room. I teach you to get in on the retest right here after the Papa breakdown, right? The Papa broke down on our long-term chart, and once the Papa broke down, we look for the first retest right there, and then we scale out at our first scale target right here. And then we go for our next target, which is an institutional trade right here, okay? So you take all institutional breakdowns on these numbers, all institutional breakdowns with the Papa trend, and you scale out on the cyan dots if you're short, the purple if you're long. Now, if it would have rallied back up to these purple dots, you'd have seen it roll right back over. You would have had another sell opportunities if you want to put more contracts on for this institutional target. All right, that's a number one trade setup. It's my number one trade in the trading room. Papa breaks down. We go to the 1 minute chart and enter with the trend dots after the retest on the institutional number. That's the number one trade. Number 2 trade in the next video, I'm going to go over the number 2 retest and also my number 3 confluence counter trend, which is awesome. Okay, and I'll go over this trade also in my my 3rd video. Okay, Papa trend broke down. We go to our 1 minute chart. We look for a retest after the breakdown. There was the breakdown. There's the retest. Get the dot short. There's our first target. There's our ultimate target down here. Textbook. All right, let's go to series video number 3.